While having a conversation in a social setting can signify that a person is enjoying your company, you can't always believe what you hear. Someone can tell you something in one instance and then completely mean the other thing in another. So that's why it's important to pick up on social cues when you're socializing. So in today's video, I'll be giving you a list of 7 social cues that you need to be aware of so you don't waste your time in conversations that aren't going anywhere. The last social cue is something I went through with a girl last weekend, so stick around for that one. Starting with number 1, when they look at the time or an exit. This one is easy. You've been told many times before that a strong eye contact means that they're interested in you or interested in what you have to say, which is correct. There are multiple scientific studies that prove and back up that strong eye contact shows a correlation to high interest level. So when you are in the midst of a conversation with a girl at the bar or some individual at a networking event and they can't seem to look you in the eye directly while you're in the conversation, it shows that they have a very low interest level in you. It may not even be your fault. The person might be extremely conceited, but at that moment, you gotta realize that you aren't interesting to them at that moment. And they'll start looking at their watch, they'll start looking at their phone, they'll start looking at another group of people. A change in activity is what they're looking for. And some do it subconsciously, so it's very important to pick up on that before they fully realize that they're bored of talking to you, which will kind of give you time to switch up the play and talk about something else that's actually interesting to them to keep them engaged, depending on who you're talking to. But most of the time, you're better off just cutting your losses and finding something else to do. Number 2, if their feet or their body is pointed towards an exit. This social cue is extremely hard to notice, especially when you're in the midst of a conversation with someone. Everything feels rushed. Everything feels nerve-wracking. It's like you're in your own domain, right? So while I haven't been able to notice this while I'm talking to people, I had the opportunity to watch one of my boys try and flirt with a girl at the bar the other day. And unfortunately for my boy, I could tell she wasn't really feeling him. Only because her body posture wasn't pointed towards him. What I noticed is that if you have strong eye contact, it shows that you're interested in them. But if your body is pointed the other direction, if your body's not pointed towards them, that just means that they want to leave the conversation. And in this case, the girl's body was pointed towards the exit stairs. Nothing crazy where she was talking like this the whole time, but like, it was more so her body was pointed sideways instead of actually facing fully at them while they were talking. And I saw the conversation only lasted between 3 to 4 minutes, which in reality isn't really a long time to have a small conversation. I mean, it's pretty normal, especially if you're just introducing yourself, but you can tell she wasn't feeling my boy based on the way her body was facing. So the next time you're in a conversation with someone, as you're respectfully looking into their eyes, while you're talking, try to remind yourself to take a moment and check their body posture. If it's facing towards you, consider yourself to be very interesting and wanted. But if it's pointed towards an exit or somewhere else, better luck next time. Number 3, the speed at which they are talking. All right, now think about it. When someone is talking to you and telling you a story, they may be talking about their day, they may be explaining something that happened to them today, or explaining something to you. You notice that that person is talking at the speed of light and subconsciously feel obligated to match the same speed while you're talking, and now you feel like you're both talking like this, and you see what I mean? I've been in conversations like that so many times, and this happens for 1 or 2 reasons. The first reason is that they get extremely nervous talking to you, and they might be introverts, right? And they most certainly want the conversation to be over as fast as possible to avoid potentially making any mistake, or to avoid looking like an idiot. Or they're cracked out on coffee. Like I'm talking about, they're on their 4th cup of coffee. It's not even 9 o'clock yet. Shit, they haven't even left the house yet. In some instances, this can apply to you. Most of the time, you won't even catch it you're talking this fast. So it's important to be aware of how fast you're talking in a conversation, because it will potentially ruin the flow. Number 4, my favorites. They only talk about themselves. Now, I want you to imagine that you're having a conversation with a girl you just met off a dating app, right? For all the guys who use Tinder and Hinge on those lonely Friday nights. Say she's like an 8, 9, or 10 even, and she's super attractive. But on this date, she's only talking about herself, her hobbies. She's gassing herself up. She's giving boss babe vibes. She's talking about all the trips she's been on and all that bullshit, while unfortunately not acknowledging you, the person potentially paying for the whole date. Now, how would that make you feel? Not good, right? I bet that 8, 9, 10 rating you gave her will go down to a 3, 4, 5 real quick. And that's another social cue that you have to keep in mind. No one likes a person that talks about themselves. It's lame, especially when they never ask about the other person's well-being. Conversations like a give and take ordeal, right? When you go back and forth providing interesting information to each other to socialize about. And unfortunately, social media has played a huge part of making this as lost of an art as it is now. So it's important to be aware and safe against narcissists like this because, you know, those will be the type of people that will take advantage of you mentally and emotionally. Number 5, noticing a shift in tone. The tone, the pitch, the volume of someone's voice can reveal their intentions and feelings. A friendly tone usually indicates a positive attitude, right? While a harsh or like even a boring, flat, monotone voice might suggest, you know, boredom or irritation even. So I'm going to give you an example of this with a conversation.
Yo, what's good, Joe? How's your day going, bruh?
Yo, what's good, my guy? You know, it's another day in paradise, man. How's your day going?
Hey, man. I can complain.
You can complain? Don't you mean you can't complain?
Nah, like, I actually can complain about my day. My dog ran out the house this morning. My grandma got captured by the government again. And my cat sued me for all my belongings, including my house. And this all happened today.
Damn, let me out now suing you?
Yeah, bro. Suing me.
Damn, man, that sounds like a really overwhelming, rough patch. I'm sorry your day's not going too well.
Man, it's all good, bro. I don't even know why I came here, to be honest. I'm just gonna go home. I don't want to kill the mood. I'll catch you.
Well, the mood's already been killed, but...
What's up?
Nah, I said it's gonna be a ginormous bill. Ginormous bill. Because, you know, your cat's suing you and whatnot.
Notice how a shift in tone made the conversation dead and no way of return. Noticing a change in tone is a clear indicator that something is about to happen, either positive or negative, and this will determine where the conversation will take. So we talked about looking at the time or exit for the first one. Second, watch where their body is facing, right? The third, see how fast they're talking. The fourth one, if they're only talking about themselves, leave them. And the fifth one was to notice a shift in tone or pitch. Now, stick with me for the last two. And if you do, I guarantee you'll be able to pick up on any social cue while you're having a conversation and never be left confused ever again. So number 6, facial expressions. See, look, I'm a huge face guy, as weird as that sounds, when talking to people. I don't know. I get so fascinated with how different people look with their specific features on their face and how they react in different situations, just based on how their face looks, especially when it happens. And noticing facial expressions has given me a better understanding of how a person might feel in a conversation. If you're making them feel uncomfortable, you'll see a little scrouge on their face. Or if you're making them feel happy, you'll see a smile. Paying attention to expressions like smiling, frowning, raised eyebrows, or a buried brow when they're angry. These can show a range of emotions from happiness and interest to confusion and frustration. And you can tell if a person is interested in you and the things that you're saying if they're able to maintain good eye contact with you. And another dead giveaway, like I mentioned before, is their smile. And you also gotta watch how their eyebrows move. Most people, as I'm doing right now, as I'm talking, you'll see how the eyebrow gets raised extremely quick. You'll see how the eyebrows move extremely quick when they're talking. That shows that they're really interested in what's going on in that situation, what's going on in that conversation. And an extremely interested person will usually reveal their interest by the way they look at you, staring with the eye contact and the smile, or even when they get close to you. Those are clear indicators that they're interested, so be on the lookout for those. Alright, last but not least, lucky number 7, doll response with a flavor of no commitment. Like I mentioned before, this just happened to me the other day. I was texting a girl, I wanted to link up with her. She has a cool vibe, she's cool. As I'm texting her, she kept replying back with very mundane, boring, flavorless one-word text. We hate the one-word text. Even throwing in reasons as to why she couldn't hang. And some of them didn't really make sense to me, to be honest. Like, the excuses were kind of like out of this world, but we're just gonna let it slide. The reason I'm telling you this is because there will come a day where you're talking to a person that you're trying to link up with, maybe even try to schedule a date. You need to be aware of how that person's responding to your text. You gotta see if they're matching the same type of energy that you are on at that moment. Because, my brothers, the moment you feel that the vibes are off, there is a huge chance that you're just wasting your time, with the end result being that you're never going to link up with that person's only using the feeling of the potential link up as the reason to continue the conversation, which is extremely disrespectful and a waste of your time, and unfortunately was a part of their plan the whole time, just to waste your time. Think about that. Understanding this social cue will save you a lot of time, effort, energy, screen time, all that. You're better off just saying your goodbyes to that person and leaving them on red at that point. If you like what you heard in this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Share to someone who needs to hear this. Don't forget to book a call with me if you want to practice your social skills completely for free with me. We'll just have a regular schmegular conversation. I'll put a link in the description below. Other than that, develop a prodigy mindset and tackle your problems with everything you got. I believe in you. Take care. Peace.